welcome to the Angel Rewatch, a spoiler-free retrospective podcast on Angel. I'm William.
And I'm Derek, and this is a podcast for Waiting in the Wings, originally airing February 4th, 2002, written by Joss Whedon. Wesley is pining over the wonder that is Fred Burkle when Cordelia tells him to man the hell up and ask her out. Angel shows up all smiles and tells them they're going out. When Gunn and Fred show up, after Gunn is pining over the wonder that is Fred Burkle, Angel tells them all that they're going to the opera. And Gunn is disappointed, thinking he was going to a concert. Then everyone tries on formal wear and wonders if the boy/girl they like will notice them. Spoiler alert, they do, except Wesley. He's forever alone. Anyway, at the ballet, Cordelia quickly zonks out, and as Angel watches, the ballet becomes concerned. At intermission, he tells his friends that this is not only the same ballet he watched over 100 years ago, it is the very same troupe. Cordelia and Angel go to investigate, while everyone continues to watch the performance. Cordelia and Angel find themselves backstage and wander into what can only be described as a sex room. They quickly realize that they're being taken over by the spirits of old lovers, despite what the dialogue tells you, these lovers are not Angel and Buffy, but some mysterious lovers from the far past. Even though that they know that they're under their spell, they can't help themselves from passionately making out. Panicked, they regain enough self-control to exit the room. Once outside, Cordelia realizes they must go back. The words they were speaking were clues to what is happening in the ballet. Not so reluctantly, Angel and Cordelia go back and things get a lot more naked. They do figure out the star ballerina was in a secret love affair with another man, and it made the owner, who is a very powerful wizard, very jealous. This wizard is the one that trapped her in this time warp so she could be his forever. Wesley, Gunn, and Fred go to check on Angel and Cordelia and are quickly attacked by the creepiest monsters Angel has probably ever created. Gunn turns his back on one of them in the fight and is stabbed. At the same time, Angel and Cordelia are also attacked, and this outburst is enough to break the spell and they are able to escape the sex room. At the Hyperion, Lauren is on Connor babysitting duty when he hears something or someone downstairs. He grabs an axe and opens the door to Angel's room to find someone waiting for him on the other side. Turns out that Gunn's stabbing was merely a flesh wound, but Fred is very concerned. Realizing how much they care about each other at the same time, they kiss, and of course Wesley is watching from the shadows. Or you could say he's waiting in the wings. Hashtag rimshot. Anyway, Angel and Cordelia find the rest of their friends and they all debrief. They need to smash the wizard's power source to break the spell, and they need to get out of the backstage they are trapped. More of the creepy drama and comedy masked monsters go after them, and Wesley realizes that killing the monsters weakens the barrier. The only problem is that killing the monsters creates more monsters. Wesley tells Angel to jump out of the barrier and find the wizard while they hold off the monsters. When the spell shimmers, Angel jumps through and finds himself in the real backstage. And the star ballerina is there, standing. She tells Angel that she doesn't dance every night, it's just an echo of one of her performances. The wizard never knows, he is too obsessed to even care about ballet, really. Angel convinces her that she can change things this time. If she goes out on stage and dances, this will be enough of a distraction Angel needs to find the wizard. This, for some reason, works, just like Angel describes, and as the ballerina dances, Angel rushes on stage. He leaps up into the box seat that the wizard is sitting in and smashes his power source. The ballerina and all the wizard's enchantments disappear. At the Hyperion, Angel tries to tell Cordelia finally how he really feels, but he's interrupted by Gru. That's right, the mysterious intruder that Lorne heard in the hotel was Cordelia's Pylian prince. Cordelia runs to Gru and they kiss, and Angel Hurt goes upstairs to check on Connor. And that's the end of our episode.
In Mother Russia, ballet dance you. This episode was full of...
I really like that you just kept going after that. You realized that failed and just wanted to cover it up as quickly as possible.
Every time I do a joke, it fails.
All right.
But...
not every time, just stupid things you say after I finish your recap.
I have to keep up with the really bad jokes coming out of your recap. Summer Glau, bad Russian accent. But it
wasn't terrible. It was distracting, knowing what Summer Glau sounds like, and she does not sound like that.
Well, even the wizard, I've seen him in other stuff.
when we call him the Wizard, I just think of the Wizard of Oz, but I don't know what else to call him. And he has an even more ridiculous name, which is like Count, I'm clearly evil something.
Yeah, Gustav, or some vague Russian name. The Count Wizard. Mm. So this episode is really interesting on rewatch for me. I initially remember seeing this the first time and being fully on the Wesley butthurt camp.
Okay. See, I hated this the first time because of binge watching it. I had a very negative reaction to Cordelia and Angel being together because I don't typically like when you make platonic male and female friends into a relationship, but obviously I've changed my tune on that. So, but yeah, I remember hating it the first time just for that simple fact alone, and I don't think I liked Gunn and Fred together. I might have been on the Wesley. I'm not sure if I was quite on the Wesley camp. I just don't think I cared either way.
See, I think I didn't like Gunn and Fred together.
Okay.
But maybe I just, being lovelorn teenager William, maybe I just related to Wesley's nerdy. Yeah, I don't know. But in either case, on rewatch, I enjoyed this for many different reasons, and I've definitely, since we've been going like an episode a week, we really get to dissect things, and getting to see Gunn and Fred interact multiple times this season. I mean, you see the attraction there underneath it. And so this just felt so natural, and to actually
half
get
of
them
it felt
to find
very natural. Half of it feels very forced, and that's my big problem with the episode, because I'm not sure what the show/episode is trying to say about Wesley. Because I have opinions. I don't think the show shares them.
I don't know. I was wondering if it was still making a broader statement about how males feel kind of entitled almost about this. They have this way I'll love this girl from afar and think that works.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, Joseph brings that up in feedback, comparing Wesley and Angel to the Wizard, but I'm not sure.
I definitely think they're making. I think they're definitely making a comparison with Wesley and the Wizard.
Yeah,
and especially it's interesting.
Maybe
whenever Angel confronts the Wizard and he has the whole "she was mine," I loved her, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and there was this kind of him exerting his power over her.
Yes,
I think you can definitely go deeper in this episode. I don't know if it's necessarily being that clever, but
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm not sure if it's. I think it's there. I think it is there to draw a parallel, but I don't know if it definitely wants you to draw the parallel. I think it exists if you want to, but I'm not sure, because the thing that really bothers me about the love triangle, besides the fact that there's really no triangle, there's no reason for her to be with Wesley at all. So there's really no kind of compliment.
I was about to be like, which triangle?
Well, there's two. Yeah, that's right. I don't even want to talk about girl. Oh, God. Anyway, but there's no reason for Fred. So the main problem I have is I have no investment in that relationship. I have no idea why Wesley is attracted to her, and I have no reason why I should root for her to be with Wesley, because they haven't shown me that. And then the other thing that bothers me is when they play up that Wesley's going about to do something terrible when he finds out. And there's the moment when they're ready to fight, and he says, "You two," and then the music gets real intense, and they pause out, and then he says, "Stick together." And it's like, oh, way to go, Wesley. You weren't a terrible human being. And it's treated like it's some kind of triumphant moment for him when I don't want the episode to praise Wesley for not being a terrible person. He should just not be a terrible person.
On Rewatch, I found it. I wasn't on Camp Wesley, so I didn't have the emotional resonance with him, of feeling like, oh, poor guy.
Yes.
But it was much more interesting on Rewatch seeing his reactions and how he takes it in. It's not necessarily he's a good guy, oh, poor him. It's how he's responding to it is actually really interesting and trying to see what's underneath the surface.
Is that intentional, is what I'm saying? Because everything else before that just makes it seem like, oh, poor him, he likes this girl and she doesn't like him back. And then there's that one moment where he's about to do something, or you think he is, and then he does it, and it's like, oh, well, congratulations, you're not the worst.
Well, there's like two moments. Like, right after he sees the two of them kissing, he, like, leaves, falls to the ground, and you see his, like, face change. And that's when he's getting taken over, he gets into the hot spot or whatever.
Yeah,
so you think that later, whenever he's like, you two, kind of aggressively.
Well, you two aggressively is him. I take that as him. Is he still being affected by the hotspot, or is it? I took that as actual Wesley.
I don't know. It's probably like both, but
maybe.
I mean, he is hurt.
Yes, he definitely is hurt. I mean, at the end, there's no way that he's still affected by the hotspot.
Right. There's just there is still something natural and relatable to seeing your crush with someone else.
Yes. I mean, he's not a terrible person because he's jealous. He's a terrible person because the episode plays with the fact that he might actually try to harm one or both of them.
I didn't necessarily think that harm was going to come to them when he says you two. I just thought he might confront them. Which again,
that's also horrible. Because he has no
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, there's nothing evil about him being jealous and being hurt because he likes her. That's fine. Like, I'm not that extreme. I'm just saying he has no right. There's no reason for him to actually have feelings for her besides the fact that she's cute and available. But now she's not.
Well, I mean, the show definitely tries to play up the fact that Fred is amazing at everything. But I mean, if he has similar interests with her,
but they haven't
they haven't shown us interact. The two of them interact, so there isn't that payoff.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't have a problem with him having feelings for her because I could understand how someone could, but I don't understand why Wesley specifically has feelings for her. Because I have not seen them interact at all. And the only time I really think we did was he was trying to murder her and Billy.
Right.
The only time
right before that. Yeah.
The only time I can remember Wesley and Fred in a scene together.
See, I have less of a problem with all of that and more of a problem with Cordelia being blind to
we can get
everything.
I mean, we've talked enough about how I feel about Wesley, and it's going to come up in feedback. So, we can move on into the Cordelia Angel stuff.
Okay. It's just really weird how Cordelia, who usually picks up on everything, is so blind when it comes to the Fred and Wesley situation, or even when characters are directly speaking about, hey, Angel is crazy about this.
Yeah. She's like, oh, Fred, honey, Angel's crazy all the time. Look at these dresses.
I guess it's one thing. It doesn't bother me as much as the contrivance of every time Angel is about to tell Cordelia how he feels, someone interrupts. But it's just so weird, and I don't know if it necessarily fits her character to be that blind, or she's just purposefully ignoring it.
Because I don't feel it's bad. Like, I can't put it in the bad, but it is weird because I still don't exactly know how she feels about him. And if she doesnthat have any feelings for him whatsoever, and she just doesn't understand that he could have feelings for her, and it's just, like, it's not even on her radar. That could be a possibility. Or it's that she knows there's no future with Angel, therefore she's ignoring it altogether. Or she's just oblivious. I
think she's just oblivious, because there is that moment when the two of them are going downstairs, or going backstage, right? And he, like, calls her the most beautiful, like, in a log sentence, calls her, like, the most beautiful girl.
Very
or whatever.
awkwardly stated. He
calls her stupid or something. I don't know.
He says, "Are you stupid?" Because she's talking about distracting the security guard. He says, "Are you stupid? If the most beautiful woman in the world talked to me, blah, 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 blah." And she's like, "What did you say?" And he said, "I didn't mean to call you stupid," and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
There's a couple moments like that where Angel compliments her, and she's like, "Oh, what does that mean?" Like, that sort of thing.
So I think she is just oblivious. Which is,
I don't know if that's Cordelia. Like, if down the line, because eventually she's going to find out. Let's be honest, not even spoilers. Just, you don't talk about this much without her finding out at some point.
Right.
I can foresee an explanation that makes me buy everything that has happened up to this point. But I kind of need it soon.
Yeah, they're playing up the drama as they're playing up the sexual tension pretty freaking hard, especially in this episode.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't think they're playing up the sexual tension because what I like about them is they're not particularly sexual.
Right.
Because, okay, so the sex room scene. If that was Buffy and Angel, I probably wouldn't question it. I mean, the dialogue is overblown and dramatic and all those things. But if it was them, yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. But when it's Angel and Cordelia, it's very kind of disturbing. Not disturbing. It makes me feel uncomfortable, like I'm seeing something I shouldn't.
Well, it doesn't help when they have very, very dirty lines.
Mm-hmm. I'm only alive when you're inside me. Yeah, that. Yeah. Which I'm just surprised that's even in there.
I keep referencing it afterwards.
Well, I mean, there are hands in new places at one point.
Yes, there is.
Mm-hmm.
Can he do this? Hands in new places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
it's very sexy. It's a sex room.
It is.
I agree with you. It does feel kind of unnatural for the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
because their connection is more on an emotional level.
And I kind of like at the end of the episode when Angel is stumbling to talk to Cordelia.
At least in this episode, Angel finally admits to himself that he's in love with her.
Right.
So we get that.
Yeah, he starts to try and, like, if the two of us ever, and he stumbles around it, but, like, if the two of us ever did that, I would want it to be new. Like, there would be something very, I feel like if they actually did end up together, it'd be very different than the over-the-top, romantic, dramatic.
That's what it is. When Angel says, "This isn't us," it works on two levels for me, because it's not just that they're under a spell, it's just this is so not who they are as a couple.
Right.
They aren't this dramatic, and I'm only alive when you're inside of me. That would never come out of their mouths. It would happen in a much more... They wouldn't come together in a big physical attraction way. They'd come together in a more emotional way.
Right.
Because, I mean, it's definitely that Angel is attracted to her. And I think we can... no matter what Cordelia feels about him, I think she finds Angel physically attractive. Because how could you not?
I mean, there's some nice chemistry in the sex room whenever they're, like, trying to get out of the room. It's like when they're not possessed.
It's kind of hard. I kind of noticed. You mean that?
Yes.
Which is another line I can't believe is in there, but it is.
And I even love the Angel covering up his erection with the coat. Was funny. But how do you feel about, like, every other character commenting on this, the two of them? Like,
I think it's only Lauren and Fred.
But it feels like they've been building that up for a while.
Mm-hmm. No, so most of these people are talking to Angel.
Right.
And that's nothing new. I will agree that the Fred scene where she's like, this is going to drive Angel crazy, and Cordelia's not even really listening, is a bit weird. I don't know if she's not listening because it's Fred and she kind of tunes out 75% of what Fred says anyway. Or she is oblivious.
Right.
So I don't know. It didn't bother me because it's not like it's anything new that Angel... People have talked to Angel about you're in love with Cordelia and he denies it. At least in this episode, he comes clean with the fact that he does.
I don't think he's even denying it necessarily in the Lorne scene. Mm-hmm. It's just that I think he realizes that you can't really go anywhere.
Well, he says that he starts off saying there's nothing. And then he admits that there is something, but it can't go anywhere.
Right. And it sucks that, he's finally gathers the courage to talk to her, and then Gru enters stage left. But I don't know. I thought they did some nice, like pairing the two of them together for a while was fun. Like I liked all their interactions. I liked them taking the guard on with Cordelia, going, "Hey, do you like bribes?" and everything. A lot of their interactions really work, and then the very uncomfortable sex room.
Pairing them off worked really well, and as the last few episodes, it's gotten kind of monotonous. The pattern of Angel denying that he has feelings for her and doing something reckless. This felt different, and that it was important that it did.
Right.
I mean, this was a lot more fun than episodes have been lately.
And it felt very different. I love that. I mean, they took their time, especially with the beginning of the episode. Like, it became an event of them going. Like, Angel describes going to the ballet as like entering a different world. Well, the episode itself kind of does that. The way they like go into the opera house and the camera like zooms up and you see Fred kind of looking up and kind of wonder. Like, the episode itself feels very different and fun, and there's just a nice energy to it.
Well, it feels very Whedon-y in the dialogue because Joss actually wrote it, which doesn't typically work well on Angel, his style. Not always, but the fun Whedon doesn't really work on Angel. Right.
I guess it kind of, the scenario helped a lot more.
Mm-hmm. No, it works for this episode. I'm just saying, now that we're going to go, I don't miss it when we get it here. Because it's good for an event sort of thing. But Angel doesn't need to be quippy, just the show in general. And the Angel in this episode isn't overly quippy, which is good. The only thing, he has a couple funny lines, which is stop calling me pastries. He says to Cordelia after she says, "Whoa, that's a fair assessment." I mean, he has a couple more quippier lines than Angel usually has, but they work for him.
Right.
And Joss writes Cordelia is a little bit more biting than we normally get. She has a little bit more of an edge in some of her jokes than normal. Again, it's not distracting. It's just recognizable that he wrote this episode.
Yeah, I think that there's a couple lines that you can definitely tell, especially, like, Cordelia used the words, like, wigs.
Yeah,
wigs out. Like,
wig, which he hasn't said in years.
Right. Like, of course, knee-deep in demon gore or whatever, but make out with the hottie, suddenly he wigs. I forget the exact line.
She says mac with a hottie. She doesn't even say make out. She gets real, I grew up in the 90s. That scene.
Right. But I liked it. I thought the dialogue felt pretty fresh. I really it helps that they pair each group up so that we get all the different interactions. I really like a number of the Gunn and Fred scenes, especially when Gunn's really self-conscious about the tux.
Yes.
And he's like, "Please don't laugh," and she ends up laughing and says, "Oh God, you look so pretty," which I think that was a great moment.
No, there's a lot of as an event, sort of one-time thing, funner episode, this works. But it's not a tone I miss all the time on Angel. Because it just doesn't fit with Angel.
Yeah.
I think if anybody else wrote this could have been disastrous, but it's not.
Interesting. I do feel like they could have spent more time with the creepy demons, the comedy and tragedy.
Yes.
Because I thought that those were surprisingly very, very effective.
Well, I don't know if it's surprisingly, because creepy things laughing while they attack you is just inherently creepy. and scary.
Right.
I don't know, it's surprising. They are terrifying, though. And we talked about last week, monster designs. I don't know if they win point for monster designs because it's not exactly original, but God, they are horrifying.
Right. I kept thinking, I was just thinking of like the Batman Joker, but still, like the guy.
Well,
crying.
I was thinking about the gentleman.
Oh, okay. I really like the Wesley one-on-one fight when he's fencing. Works really well, and he stabs him, and he's like, "Who's laughing now?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, you are, but I still win.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was actually a really well done fight. Like seeing Wesley handle his own, but in a very Wesley fashion because he's fencing, I thought worked really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably the one moment in this episode I actually like Wesley. As opposed to every other moment where I just want him to shut up.
Well, I like the last moment.
No, that bothers me.
That bothers you?
I mean, not in I think it's bad. It bothers me, and he's a jerk because he thinks that they should still be together. I think. I don't think he's come to peace with the fact that they're not. Well, because she says you never know how these kind of things are going to turn out, and he goes, "Yeah, you never do," in a way that suggests that he thinks she belongs with him.
I mean, if they're still playing up that angle of.
I mean, it does depend on what
the competition thing, like how you're reading into that triangle, then yes, you can play up he's a dick. But if that's just a quiet resignation of him loving from afar and it not going his way, then I actually really like the moment.
Okay. It is dependent on how he acts now that they're officially together in the next episode. I just read it as he wants them to still be together, but I could be wrong. Like the love triangle could be over.
Well, I don't necessarily think he doesn't want to be with her.
Mm-hmm. Well, that she made the wrong choice, in the same way that I think Cordelia does. Or do you think she belongs with Gru?
Oh no! I was just thinking about how, again, Cordelia being oblivious thinks that it is Fred and Wesley should be together.
Well, that too. Well, I don't maybe because I think she's closer with Wesley, and I don't think she knows. That one doesn't bother me as much because I think that Cordelia spends more time with Wesley than she does with Gunn, and all the Gunn and Fred scenes we've got, and they're kind of off on their own. And Cordelia wouldn't be around to notice the interactions between them, really. Not that Gunn's been particularly subtle in the past few weeks, but Cordelia's been in a coma and on babysitting duty.
Right.
So I think she's closer to Wesley, and he said, and the way that Fred describes Gunn does imply to Wesley.
Really, the only thing is commanding.
Yeah, the commanding thing stood out to me because I don't think Gunn's commanding. But anyway,
whatever. Gunn can't. It was vague enough that you could see the description.
Yeah, I buy that. Cordelia thinks it's Wesley, and then tells him so. If she knew that if there was a scene where Gunn explicitly said it and Cordelia was oblivious, like the way that people tell Cordelia, Angel's in love with you and she doesn't hear them, then that's a problem. But in this particular episode, it does bother me that she's more on Wesley and Gunn's side. And next episode, I assume we'll get her reaction to them being together.
Do triangle stories end up bothering you?
Triangle stories bother me if the partners are not equally compatible. The two potential partners are not equally compatible for the person that they are competing with. And oftentimes they are not.
Yeah.
Because usually it involves the main character, their love interest, and some random guy. So the Gru thing, Gru, Angel, Cordelia, there's no future there because we know that if Angel wants to be with Cordelia, that's eventually going to happen in some form because he's the main character.
How do you feel about having two different triangles going on at the same time?
I don't know.
I mean, if one of
them was good, then I have no problem with it. Or if one of it not good, if one of them had two equal partners, then yeah, sure. But both of them are not.
Right.
I don't know anything about Gru, so I can't really judge him.
Right. But we haven't... They're obviously going to play up the drama of that. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're going to just let that go. So we're going to see hurt Wesley and hurt Angel for quite some time.
Yeah, probably. I don't have any opinions about Gru at all. Okay. It's not overly offensive to me, and he's not... I just don't have any feelings about him. Like, I don't dislike him. I don't like him. I don't know anything about him besides that
he looks like Fabio.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't wear sleeves, so... These are the two things I know about him. And Cordelia has told us that she needs some loving, because apparently Dennis has been. And Cordelia's relationship has progressed to quite an alarming degree, honestly.
Good with the loofah.
Again, there are a lot of sexual innuendo jokes that I am surprised made it to air.
Yeah. I do like that moment with Cordelia and Wes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I missed that last. Who's doing what with the loofah? Not loofah. Loofah. It's a demon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, there's really... Yeah, I don't have anything else to say.
All right, yeah, let's go ahead and go to feedback. All right, first up in feedback, we have Kathleen, who says, Angel loves the ballet. Who'd have thought? I enjoyed this episode. The opening scene proves once more that Wes is in love with the idea of Fred rather than in love with her. He hasn't taken any time to get to know her, whereas Gunn is so the twist at the end that Fred was talking about Gunn to Cordy was no surprise to anyone except Wesley. Gunn's reaction to Angel getting the ballet tickets is adorable, and so too is his unexpected enjoyment of the ballet. Cordy falling asleep and snoring and drooling on Angel, not so cute. I thought it was nice. Angel starts to open up to Lorne about his feelings for Cordelia. The Angel and Cordy scenes backstage, been possessed by the spirits, was great. Another way for the show to see them together without the characters actually getting together. The Whedon shows are good at that. Again, it would be nice to address the curse and what perfect happiness means. Wes finding Gunn and Fred kissing was a bit overdramatic for my liking, but only slightly works as he was possessed too. Nice surprise ending with Gru reappearing. Have you guys seen the deleted scenes with Wes dancing ballet horribly with Fred? So, thank you, Kathleen.
No. I didn't actually get a chance to look at the commentary or the deleted scenes for this episode, but I wanted to.
I have seen them before.
Okay.
That
might make me feel better about the episode as a whole if we see there's at least one scene where they're interacting.
Well, it's not really them interacting, it's him daydreaming. Oh,
God.
It literally plays up the idea that he likes the idea of her.
Okay, well, maybe then I would feel more confident that that's what they're going for, because I don't feel confident that's what they're going for. That's what I'm interpreting it as.
But he literally daydreams, and it's the only way you can showcase Fred doing the ballet, because she had taken ballet for like 15 years in real life, and Joss wanted to like show it off in the episode, but he never actually gets to.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's really funny. It's just farcical nonsense. It's Wes getting to do physical comedy again, which he hasn't done in forever.
Yeah. Because he's serious, Wesley. He has a 5 o'clock shadow, and no, he doesn't anymore. That's just when he has his arm ripped off.
Yeah. He did get to kick some ass with the...
No, he's serious Wesley now. He's not falling down, squealing Wesley.
Right.
Anyway, still, we need to talk about what perfect happiness means, but I do like that part of the uncomfortability of the sex scenes for them is Angel turning. Because that's Cordelia's main concern. Or she thinks that's why Angel's concerned.
Right.
Where it's that he's with her, but he's not. And that he just can't forget being with her. The way that she obviously can, or supposedly can.
Yeah. Well, it's like she doesn't even think much of it. She's like, well, I've got the cross, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. It's a weird scene from Cordelia's perspective,
mm-hmm.
I guess.
Well, it's a weird scene. Because it is so sexual and surprisingly so. But
it's more sexual than the show has ever been.
I mean, not showing things is somehow more... it feels more dirty than actually showing things. Like, obviously it never would because it's on basic. It's on network television, primetime. But
right.
Just not seeing things, if this was on HBO or something, Cordelia's boobs would be all over the place. But just not showing it, I feel somehow more dirty for having seen it. When he takes the dress down.
Yeah.
Like, that is so much more dirty than if they actually showed it. Just the way that it is shot.
Navel gazing.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, but that's not really what the comment is about. Just, the curse plays is the undercurrent for a lot of those scenes. And why they're so adamant to get out of the room.
I mean, I don't know if that necessarily, they play that up.
I think it's an
so
undercurrent. I think it's more that they're making out and that makes them uncomfortable. But it also, there's urgency to get out of the room, and Cordelia talks about, I think she says no one gets happy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's always been, I guess that exact word with perfect happiness, there's a lot of meaning there. But they've used that phrase, happy, to imply sex before.
Well, they've used perfect happiness to imply sex before.
Yeah, okay. I did really like the Gunn's reaction to Angel getting the ballet tickets. And I love that Angel uses his phrase, and then
Angel saying, "You're going to trip out. These guys are tight." Oh, God. I love that.
It's so funny.
I love that so much.
I also love that at intermission, Gunn uses the exact phrase.
Yeah. Well, what I really like about it is Angel like kind of thinks about it, and then he's like, "How could I?" Like, he's trying to figure out how he could relate to Gunn, and then he does it, and then he just looks really hurt when Gunn tells him not to use his own phrase when the trust is broken. I don't know. I really like that.
I also found that interesting because they played up the whole, like, Gunn's serious moments in previous this season was about how he could, like, we can never be friends, blah, blah, blah. But they seem so casual and so connected now, even with the trust is broken. So am I supposed to just ignore that old gang of mine?
Okay, so as I have not listened to the commentary to this particular episode, but I have listened to the two previous ones for this season, and in both of them, Tim Benier was on it, and he wrote that old gang of mine, and he is not so subtle about the fact that he hates that old gang of mine.
Okay.
And he thinks it's a terrible episode that he wrote, and he probably wants to forget that it ever happened anyway, so that could be why.
Okay, so maybe the show is actively trying
to they actually don't like that episode at all, which we really didn't have a problem with, but they hate it.
Well, I think I put an asterisk about, like, where is the story going and how much are they going to play up that angle. But since the show has ignored it, I'm going to ignore it too. Okay. But I actually like the two of them interacting.
I still think it's an element of their interactions that Gunn doesn't completely trust him. Right. But, yeah, they are casual about the trust being broken.
I do also like Gunn, again, continuing to ramble about the ballet. It's like the athleticism, and then he, like, pauses.
Gunn
like, no, I was cool before.
Gunn, this is a very good episode for Gunn.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Moving on. We have Joseph who said, thematically, I guess it were. Wes and Angel were both too repressed to let Fred and Cordy know how they felt, and now they've missed any chance they might have had. The ending surprised me, even on Rewatch, but I was glad to see it reflect Wesley's story. The metaphor is a little weird, though. Is Wes and Angel's situation reflected by the creepy stalker who doesn't understand she's just not that into you, dude, or the ballerina who hesitated too long and was lost? Maybe we're not supposed to know which is the metaphor. I think there's been some discussion of whether Wes appreciates Fred as a person, and I'd like to speak up in Fred's defense. Of course Wesley appreciates Fred who she is. She's quirky. Quirky and adorable, and quirky and oh so adorable. That's who Fred is, and we know because they've told us a number of times. Gunn appreciates her because she's quirky and adorable and likes tacos, and Wes appreciates her because she's quirky and adorable and likes science. And seriously, I think they both appreciate that Fred gets them and treats them like people, but oh, so quirky. Frankly, it's a little impulsively that Lauren, Lila, and Gavin aren't all courting Fred, too, because she's just that adorable and also quirky. Thank you, Joseph.
I get this. Is that? Are you slow clapping?
I was actually just clapping my hands together, but I think it deserves a slow clap. Yeah, that is true. This is true. I don't have much more to say about it. I think that's all that needs to be said.
I mean, the show has definitely, on Rewatch, done a better job of showing Fred and Gunn interact. Mm-hmm. But yes, the show definitely has
a crush on Fred.
It does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. There's nothing more to say about that than it obviously does, and we already talked about it. Like, I don't... When Gunn calls her remarkable, don't have a problem with it, because he's attracted to her.
Right.
So that works on a character moment that he thinks she is as amazing as the show does. Wesley, I like when you compound that with Wesley, like, talking, just sitting there daydreaming about how wonderful she is. When she's not even in the room.
Right. I mean, I think...
and just like every other episode where at least one person says, Fred, you're amazing.
It's always the male characters, though.
Mm-hmm. Those are true. Well, the only female characters is Cordelia and Lila. And I really don't think Lila's going to be dishing out compliments to anyone. That's herself.
And Cordy always kind of treats her like a little sister, kind of thing. I do like... There's that scene after Fred has squealed at Gunn's appearance, but where Wes kind of interrupts, but they both kind of comment about how, like, she is a vision, isn't she? Mm-hmm. I don't know. There are moments that they can get away with the show liking Fred.
It's overkill sometimes is the problem.
I do. It is overkill, but I think it works in this episode.
Mm-hmm. In this particular episode, I don't have a problem with the Fred praise. Compounded with other episodes, though, it is a problem how quirky and adorable she is, and that everyone needs to know about it.
So how do you feel about the metaphor of both Angel and Wes?
I think Angel, my gut feeling is Angel's the one who waited too long. However, that doesn't really work because the ballerina waits too long, and then I guess he dies. Like, he does. She is given the opportunity to run away, and that's why he waits too long. Like, it's different with Cordelia because actually she chooses someone else.
Right.
It's not like Cordelia leaves and he waits too long. And that always kind of bothers me, that if he had just said something, there's the implication that if Angel had said something, then they're meant to be together, and Cordelia has no say in it whatsoever. Because she chooses someone else. So it's not necessarily she waits too long. But I don't think he's the creepy stalker, because that's... Even though Angel can be creepy and stalkerish, I don't think in this particular situation he is with Cordelia.
Right.
I think he is the one who waited too long. I think Wesley is... She's not that into you, and he doesn't...
Right. And there is a lot of parallels with Wes and the Wizard, because he goes through the possession.
Mm-hmm. He gets affected by...
And that scene where when he's describing his possession,
which he feels very intimate, more than intimate feelings about. The same way that I think it's intentional that Cordelia and Angel are the ones that are possessed by the lovers.
Right. But yeah.
I do think it also was vague, though, intentionally so.
Right. I do like that they make a reference to the Buffy episode where Angel was...
We don't have to talk about that. Just remove all Buffy talks until we get to Cadam's comment, and then you could talk your heart's content about Buffy.
Fair enough. Okay, are we good to move on?
Yeah, we're good to move on.
Okay, I'm just bad. So next up is Alicia, and she says, I like Wesley and Fred together. Wesley talking about Fred, Cordelia and Wesley talking, Gunn's reaction to the tickets. They all looked so pretty and handsome when they went to the opera. I like Cordelia and Fred's dresses. I thought Wesley putting the shawl on Fred and Cordelia was cute. Lauren singing to Connor, especially the this line with Uncle Lorne, who is in no way resents not being asked to go to the ballet and certainly not thinking of selling you to the first vampire cult that makes him a decent offer. Angel remembering the last time he was possessed by dead lover spirits. So thank you, Alicia.
Mm-hmm. I will say that I actually really do like Cordelia and Fred's dresses.
Yeah, I like everyone getting pretty. I was not a fan of Cordelia's hair when it's done up. I don't know exactly why. I liked her hair when it was down earlier in the episode, but when she kind of got...
Let's chat about Cordelia's hair. So what'd you think about it?
I just my
you just were into the updo. You don't like it.
Not into the updo.
No. Okay.
I was okay with the short bangs, put the hair down.
All right.
Worked well.
That's cute. All right. Anyway.
You can criticize me, but that's fine.
No, I do really... There's a shot when we see Fred from the back with the shawl and the way that the dress is draped in the back, too, that actually looks really cool as she's walking down the hallway.
Right.
So that's what I noticed about it that I actually really liked.
Well, that scene just works really well because I love how they do, like, an up view shot of seeing the hall as she's walking in. Mm-hmm. I don't know, kind of reminds me
just the fact that they're in formal wear, and they are never in formal wear, gives the episode a different feel.
Yeah, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, Lauren singing the lullaby to Connor, which I remembered, but I still really like.
See, I didn't, but I really like that they included that scene. Although at first I was like a little, because I had forgotten, but I was a little weird because like, why are we cutting to Lauren?
So
but I did like the inclusion because it makes him feel more a part of the group.
Yeah, like, but they didn't.
We need to go. I know, but the fact that the episode checked in on him,
that they acknowledged that they didn't invite him is good.
Yeah.
Why don't you think they invited him? Besides the fact that they need a babysitter or something.
They need a babysitter, and how can he really go to the opera looking like a demon? But the other thing that bothers me in this episode is, when Angel runs
across stage and then everybody claps after the ballerina disappears.
Yeah, wouldn't the entire audience be like, "What the heck just happened?"
And it's really kind of quiet applause. So maybe if there was just one shot of the audience being like, "What the hell just happened?" But it's really polite, kind of clapping, like, "Oh, that was nice. How she just disappeared into thin air."
I wanted the audience to be like, "Ooh, after
something.
She disappears, ooh, special effects."
Also, I'm not sure how her going out onto stage does anything.
Well, he's already losing control of the situation.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
It's the fact that she steps up and she does something.
Yeah, it's that. Angel says that she can help change things, which she really doesn't. She just is able to dance one last time. Which is nice, but I'm just saying that there's a suggestion that it somehow weakens the spell, and I'm not sure how exactly.
I mean, as a metaphor of him exerting his power over her and she reclaiming that power, I think it works nice.
Yeah, it does. There is a literal thing that somehow weakens the spell, and I'm not sure how.
Well, she talks about how she's echoing. Mm-hmm. So if it's part of the spell that she's going through the motions, mm-hmm. That maybe her physically
every single night. So you're saying it's like every single night the same arrangement. She goes out to fight the fight.
To fight the fight.
Mm-hmm. Still, she always feels this strange estrangement. Nothing here is real, and nothing here is right. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
We can move on to the next comment.
No, but seriously, I'm okay with her being part of breaking the spell because she's now not echoing and actually dancing.
No, I like it as an idea. I'm just saying that I didn't understand how it actually broke the spell, but now you've convinced me.
Okay, good.
All right.
The trading blows, but thinking no one knows.
Anyway, next up we have Canham, who said, "It was wonderful to have Joss Whedon's dialogue back, but two issues. He can't write naughty very well, and it felt tonally very unlike every other episode of Angel, which is jarring. And isn't Joss recycling his ideals? Even Angel mentions it. Yeah, you guys are right. The chemistry is much better between Charles and Fred than with Wesley and Fred. Wesley is delusional, which actually fits. He's scary, he could snap at any moment, and that could be interesting. Is Cordelia in denial of her feelings, hiding from them, or playing with Angel? Love the theater, mask laughers, I'll have nightmares tonight. The episode is full of style and grace. It's a fairy tale nightmare with a poignant ending and a message. Okay, and then he gave it an 84 out of 100. So thank you, Cam. Now you can talk about Buffy. Because we've had to cut it out twice where you started talking about Buffy, and I wanted to save it to this comment because Katem talks about recycling ideas from Buffy.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting them playing up the Angel being taken over by a lover spirit before.
Fun fact, the only episode of Buffy I have never watched.
Really?
And I did not watch it because when Angel became jealous, I knew that was going to happen, but I just wanted to get to the end of it, and then I realized that there was a Monster of the Week episode in between, and I had no investment in watching that. So I just went to the end. Continuing on.
It's actually pretty interesting because they flip the roles.
I know, they flip the gender roles, yeah. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. And jump.
I didn't have too much of a problem with the recycling of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
As long as that they mention it, which helps.
And it's a different... I mean, I will always have eyes for you, as the episode, right?
Yes.
Well, that's like I don't know, Buffy shows up with a gun. Very weird.
Well, the gun materializes.
Whatever. It's weird. That's a different kind of thing than being possessed by old lovers in this thing where, yes, it is a recycling. There's no getting around that. But I like that they mention it.
But even the way the sex scene is shot is very reminiscent of whenever Buffy and Angel actually hook up.
Yes. And because, like I said, if you had replaced Cordelia with Buffy in that scene, I would not immediately think they were being possessed by something.
Right.
Because that's them. They are divas, as I've said before. And I think... So it's not great dialogue. There's no getting around that, but I think it's supposed to be kind of overblown. Yeah,
it's supposed to be over the top.
I don't think Joss unironically wrote I'm only in live when you're inside of me. Which I'm pretty sure is the 5th time we've said that in this podcast. But, yeah, I think it's maybe even supposed to be a parody of Buffy and Angel in some ways.
Right, or just a comment on how the relationship is different.
Yeah.
I really do like you said, the dual meaning of this isn't us. Mm-hmm. I do like when Fred calls Gunn Charles. Is that the first time?
No, she's called him Charles since she's been introduced, really.
Huh.
Which I actually like that she's the only one that calls him Charles.
It definitely really worked, and like whenever she kind of screams it out whenever he gets stabbed, it was actually pretty affecting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was much more invested in the two of them in this episode, and it was a very good Gunn episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really don't have anything more to say that we haven't already said about anything besides the favorite moment, which is the ones you don't want to talk about, that we haven't talked about yet.
No, yeah, I guess we can move on to favorite moments and scores.
So I will go first. My favorite moment is actually Angel talking to the ballerina and talking about the echoes, which I really like that line that she doesn't dance, she echoes. And it's just this really simple and kind of heartbreaking scene. And we go back to her as a ballerina dancing, so she's kind of always in the sort of focal point, but she stands out so much in that scene, and the episode is kind of memorable because of, well, Katem calls it a fairy tale nightmare, which I actually really like, and it's because of her story that she's trapped in this time warp to dance the same dance, but she doesn't even get to dance. She doesn't even get to do what she loves, she just has to watch herself do it. So I just really like all of that.
Yeah, as the message and the story behind everything. I do you have a issue with necessarily that outlook?
What?
Like, she stayed because she wanted to do what she was good at, but she should have ran away with the man?
No.
Oh, okay.
I understand what you're saying, but no.
Okay.
She's doing what she loves, and she is sort of punished for it, but at the end she does get to do her final dance.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, and what we get from their scene, it's not like he is actually possessing her. She's just given this chance to choose love or to do this work, and she knows that it's dangerous. And he also tells her that she can dance somewhere else, and she doesn't want to. She wants to dance here.
Right.
So it's not like, no, don't ever dance again and run away with me. It's like, well, you can dance somewhere else, but she wants this spotlight.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The previous scene where the two of them are in the possession actually helps. Mm-hmm. Anyways, for my favorite moment, I actually went with the Fred and Gunn kind of acknowledging their feelings for each other scene.
Yes. I really like that too.
Any time, like actually seeing Fred kind of break down and show real emotion.
Well, I like the Gunn part of it.
Well, I like the Gunn part of it too. I like it, but it's also, he's so stoic usually as well. Like, this felt earned and genuine.
Well, I really like him. I guess so we never actually see. Ballet is silent. So what is he quoting? And why does he know it?
I guess that's true.
So that felt like a very Joss thing, because he likes to bring in. I'm actually not sure what he's quoting, and I probably should have looked it up, but I don't know where Gunn pulls that out of, because the ballet is just music and dancing.
Some Shakespearean.
It's probably not Shakespearean, but it's. I get what you're saying. It's some kind of weird romantic thing, which I really like that as a moment, but it was bizarre to me that Gunn knows it. And somehow it just feels very them that they're saying this as a joke, but it's also a very genuine moment between them and that's how they have their first kiss.
Yeah. I don't know. I fangirled out at that moment, which is so weird because I totally was not. I did not ship them together on first watch.
I don't care about it. Who ends up with Fred?
Well, I like Fred a lot. I'm with the show. I still have the crush with the. Fred.
I mean, I do have a crush on Fred. Just I don't care who ends up with her. I'm way tied into the Cordelia and Angel thing. If they don't get together, I'm gonna cry. Like, it's so TV cliche that Gru shows up, but I'm still like, no, he's going to come up and see Connor's asleep, and Connor's not even going to be there to comfort him.
So I gotta go take care of Connor.
It's just terrible.
I really wish I could have heard Angel, like, sniffle as he
basically does.
Anyway. I'm going to go check out Connor. His voice crack.
No, Angel isn't the guy whose voice cracked. His voice only cracks when Darla's dying.
Yeah.
Or no, his son, because he didn't know Darla's going to die. Anyway,
scores.
Okay, so really, though, this is just an above-average Monster of the Week episode for me, as much as I enjoyed it, so I ended up giving it 67.
As a standalone episode, I thought it works really well, and there is actually there's some depth to the episode.
Yeah, this has been more positive discussion than my review, because I really ripped into the love triangle, which I just didn't feel like repeating myself anymore.
Right. I had some issues with, some of the cliches of, and Gru steps in at the last moment, but I actually really enjoyed this on Rewatch. I'm going to give this a 75 out of 100.
Okay. That is fair.
So If you'd like to leave us some feedback, you can do so by commenting on the post at theangelrewatch.wordpress.com.
Or you can send an email to angelrewatch@gmail.com.
Or call our voicemail number at 206-203-3276.
We're going to Tumblr, which is angelrewatch.tumblr.com, to see all the reviews archived there and the gifts of whatever episode we're watching that week.
We're available on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. While you're there, leave us a review. It really helps promote the show. You can follow me on Twitter at NerdGuyWilliam.
And you can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr at TheConforrador.
And next time, we'll be reviewing Couplet, where Angel struggles with his jealousy of the newly arrived Gruselog.